in the iteration and validation process to transform these ideas into a better solution. Do stay tuned for 2022 session. All right, let's welcome our first team to present. From Team Blue Elephant Solution with their AI-based solution to protect your training investment using spaced repetition. Each team has 5 minutes of sharing and Q&A, and you can post your question on the chat or verbalize it after the end of sharing. Mr. Anand, are you ready?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
I'm going to share my slides. Can you see it?
We can see your slide. Whenever you're ready, we'll start the timer for the 10 minutes.
Okay, I'm ready. Hi, everyone. I'm Anand. I'm from Blue Elephant Solutions, and we are a gamification and AI-based learning solution organization. And we specialize in a micro app that uses an AI-based solution in the back end to gamify and improve and retain your training investments. So most of us will remember that when we finish our training, almost 75% of what we learned in the training session will be forgotten in just about 6 days after we finish the training. So imagine spending money on training only to realize your staff forgot what they learned, and you're spending thousands of that at a go. As a trainer, giving value-added service to clients through an innovative and technologically advanced method, especially during this COVID-19 epidemic. And for as low as 15 Sing dollars, and with an immediate ROI, you have the opportunity to learn and discover something new and innovative in your training solutions. At Blue Elephants, our solutions are very, very simple and straightforward. In the past, we used to use LMS to build our training skills and certify people. But like babies, we quickly forget unless we continue to repeat them, and so that we can turn them into habits. That's what our knowledge solution does. And through doing that, we turn action into achieving your goals. We have 2 general interfaces, and it has the following benefits. It is a mobile-first strategy, and we use spaced repetition to make it efficient and effective in your learning. It uses an AI-based algorithm in the back end and incorporates gamification elements. And we build micro scenarios so that it is relevant to what you are training. The 2 interfaces that we have is, we call it a classic interface as well as a gamified interface. It is very similar to an LMS on a normal desktop. However, we use this on a phone so that you can carry it anywhere while you're waiting at a bus stop or waiting for your clients. And on top of that, you also have the standard features that you normally have, like reward systems, team stats, rankings, like you do in an LMS anyway. So these are the few gamified customizations we can actually do for you. The first one, the big one on the left, is our standard product. It's like an office table, but we can easily change this into a board level, a round table meeting, and one-to-one interview. And on the bottom 2 right images, you will see a price level, like a reward system, and the furthest right is a ranking system, which is very popular with sales trainings. This is a classic version for those who prefer something more conservative. It incorporates exactly the same elements, it's just that the display is very different. We currently have the following customer types. We have small, medium enterprises. We also have a few multinationals that we are working with. We've also sold to individual trainer types as partners who resell this and do value-added solutions to your clients, and also training organizations. We are also listed on IAL. In Asia, our cases are very interesting. We have a car dealership that uses us for their product training. We have a software and IT company which we have rolled out safe coding practices as training. We have 2 medical devices. One is their ongoing pilot for medical device learning capability, as well as one for their product rollouts. In Europe, we are very strong in Germany, and we have an anti-money laundering pilot running, as well as a data privacy organization running, as well as their local equivalent to our bar council. We have a multilingual platform for a work and safety health organization in a university hospital there. And we are also working on an MBA program with the University of Mannheim. Our team spans all the way from America down to Asia Pacific, and I'm here in the Asia Pacific. My contact is actually available on our website and also on the screen. You can write to me, find out more on our website, or actually call me directly as well. And I'm happy to arrange a demo session with you and also contextualize this into the area that you might be interested or whatever applies to you. So in summary, 90% of the knowledge is forgotten after 1 month after you do a training. So, and repetition leads to successful habits, which then leads to actions and results. In Knowledge Empire, our solutions use AI-based spaced repetition and micro scenarios to achieve this. We also make your training sustainable, efficient, and effective. And you can use the content we develop or also the ones that you want to build customized on your own. So it empowers you to do what you need. The solution is also highly customizable into white label versions or any sort of format that you might want. It's also easily integrated into standard LMS and HR solutions. And we provide flexible hosting as well with good encryption of the highest data protection standards. And that will be it for me. I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Anand. Jonta here. I think one of the participants have asked this question. Is the spaced repetition unique to the learner or is it generic to all? Maybe you can elaborate.
It can be customized to both. Our standard is unique to the learner, and that is how you run the AI backend. So you can specify the number of repetitions that it needs to be able to qualify for certification, and also allow the AI to automatically prompt the question back. We also have some trainers who have asked us to be able to set it on their own, and we are able to do this both as a standard offering, so you can choose. Any other questions?
Yes, the next question from Mr. Tommy. He asked about justification. How do you justify the return on investment?
Oh, okay. That would be interesting. The moment you train and you use our micro app, your $10 per user per license is already covered because you get a set of questions that we will set based on your learning objectives. And the moment they start using this, you already immediately get your ROI. You know, the reason behind this is you will be repeating this for a period of anything between 2 to 3 months. And that's, you know, the fact that you're doing it is already an investment well made.
Yeah, we still have about 2 minutes left. Yeah, someone from who's anonymous would ask, maybe you could elaborate a bit more on the AI component in the learning, or especially in your platform. So like, how is it different than the typical AI out there, perhaps?
Okay, so as far as I know, there's no AI that actually calculates this for us. But what we do is, assuming you have 10 questions for your learning objectives after you just finish your training. So we will present users with the 10 questions straight away. Now, for the ones they answer correctly, that will be repeated at a later time, assuming 10 days later. But if you answer something wrong, that question is going to come within the first 10 days again. And the AI will actually study each person's pattern of repetition and learning requirements. So some may actually get it right the first time, so you'll just delay. But those who do it wrong, will be repeated again in 1 or 2 days, maybe 3 or 4 days. I don't know what it is, but that's the AI backend that does the job unless you specify it. Okay, so based on that answer, we will also pick up your pattern of understanding. And in doing so, it also gives the feedback to the managers and the trainers to also understand whether your training is effective or if that subject matter needs more attention.
Okay, I think I have space for one more question. So the next question is probably a bit sensitive, like AI algorithm is probably quite, like it's a secret of the company. So I'll move on to the next question. Can this also track skills based just on knowledge base?
Oh, it tracks the skills based on your learning objectives. You can assess whether it's a person thing that, you know, the person is having challenges in a certain module or is having challenges understanding the content or just can't get the concept. On the other hand, you also have a breakdown of questions, the type of questions and the type of modules. So in that, using those reports, we can generate standard reports and customized reports that will allow you to target what it is you really want to search up for. Like I mentioned earlier, you can study whether it's also the reason is because of the question being difficult or maybe the content not being delivered properly. And just to add on, we are also open to researching, to proving this with you. We are doing currently a few pilots that show that with their own organization. So we are not sharing that in public. But if you want to do something like that on your own, we are open to that collaboration as well.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Anand.
You're welcome. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, have a good morning for you as well.
You too.
Up next, we have the next team. Team Data Highs, please stand by. Team Data Highs will now share on their pitch, which is with the title Learning Resource Created for Educators and Practitioners to Educate Learners on Cyber Hygiene and the Importance of Data Protection. Each team has 5 minutes of sharing and Q&A. Do post your question on the Q&A or verbalize it after the team sharing. Team Data Highs, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Junta, for having me.
Yeah, whenever you're ready, we'll start the timer.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Barnabas, also known as Data Protection Pal on social media cradles like YouTube and Facebook. So today I want to share about a little creation that I created as the first learning resource for data protection and cyber hygiene, because we have a very important and urgent situation here where the whole world is catching up with privacy laws. And since the GDPR has been enforced in 2018 in the EU, other countries have been catching up with their privacy laws, and Singapore is no exception. Yet over the past few years, ransomware has hit the world pretty hard. And as we grapple with the pandemic, we also got to grapple with the cyber pandemic that's happening right now. And these are stats from Google telling us that, you know, how well are parents able to educate children on safety being online. And now we know that many parents depend on the iPad to educate the children. While cyber crimes continue to rise, we really have to look into this really seriously. And this is a little statistics that I've collected in March and April, where more than 1 billion personal data has been stolen, I would dare say, all over the world. And with the many countries in putting in their privacy regulations, including China, which is going to implement their PIPL next week, privacy has become a standard all over the world for companies, especially for major corporations. And you see Apple taking the charge on privacy as a business standard. So what is one flaw in having the best systems? One of the major contributor of breaches is the human being. You can have all the best systems in the world, but yet if you just have a human error, that is going to be a disaster. And you know, even in Singapore, a majority of breaches happen because of human error. So I want to present to you this concept of cyber hygiene, where, you know, not many people are aware of cyber hygiene or even the term by itself. And it's not just simply washing the phone. we all know about hand hygiene during the pandemic, but what about cyber hygiene? It is something that is emphasized over and over again in schools, in families, in offices. So while teaching data protection, I realized that a lot of people do not have the basic cyber hygiene, and a topic that I'm teaching, PDPA, not the most exciting topic. And therefore, I created this learning resource in the form of a game called Data Heist to educate on cyber hygiene and data protection. Now, one of the ways we do is to put in an antithesis where players will have an opportunity to steal as much data as possible. So therefore, it gives that little experience in playing it and showing players and learners how easy it is for hackers to steal data from them. So one of the unique selling proposition of Data Heist is that it's designed so simply that even a child age of 8 can play. So it's suitable not only for the corporate learner, the adults, but also as simple enough so that children from the age of 8 can play, so that it can be reached out to the schools from a young age to cultivate this value of data protection, cyber hygiene, and a respect for personal data. So within the game itself, or within the resource itself, it's not just a game, because I really created Data Heist to help me in my consulting work in privacy. And it can also be used as a tool for practitioners like myself to create what we call a data inventory map for an organization very quickly to explain to business owners, bosses, managers, what are the risks in the organization. So what else is out there? There are several other tools out there that are very high tech and even with a lot of words. So when I saw what's out there, I created what was simple enough for, like I said, for children, for youth, and for rank and file, for operation staff. And that is really a key here, to embed learning so that they remember, and it can be or continue to be modified so that there's different levels of difficulty to suit different learning abilities and also different lessons that the company might want to share. So these are some of the iterations that I've done. So I've taken the game, I've tested out with several people, and right now today it's already in London. It's on sale in London right now. There are about 10 sets running around and educating. So my goal is to have Data Heist in every classroom and boardroom, because data protection is very important. We cannot ignore data protection because we really need to use it for compliance and education. And one day, I really wish that we have a global marketplace where organizations are not only responsible, but we have individuals starting from a very young age to learn and respect data, to respect privacy. And one day, perhaps, we will not have any hackers out there. So beyond Data Heist, we look forward to developing more learning tools for cyber hygiene, as well as data protection, and maybe an app in the future as well. So with that, I would like to end my presentation and would like to open the floor to questions.
Yes, thank you so
I've
much.
got a question from Tommy. Let me answer this question first.
Go ahead.
Can this game be played virtually? Right now, it is only a physical game like this. So it's been already produced. It's a physical game, a card game itself. Have we played online? We have done one session online where I did the introduction, the soft launch in UK. So I actually used a video to simulate a gameplay online, but with the physical game. So we are also seeking for future funds to develop the online version. But as an educator, I really believe in face-to-face learning sometimes for certain experiences. So that's where we haven't gone online yet, but it is in the plans. Yes, Jonathan.
Yes, maybe I'll just a bit follow up to that is, how's the experience when you simulate it with the physical copy but over video? Is it as interesting, as useful?
I wouldn't say it's as interesting because there is an element of suspense when the players hold the cards in their own hand versus online where it's open so that everybody can see what the other player has. So because in games, in gamification or gaming, I mean, those days of AD&D, you have some secret up your sleeve that you wouldn't want to show your opponents, would you?
Understand. Yeah, we have a bit more time for questions from the audience. Feel free to type in on the Q&A portion. And if you are too shy, we do activate anonymous asking as well, so you can use that as well. Maybe for Mr. Mark, I have an initial question. PDPA is very dry. I've been through multiple trainings across different companies, and every company, even in IL, because we outsource this, we don't have internet expertise. It's still pretty dry. So maybe then, how then is your board game more interesting besides it's just being like additional board game?
Well, one of the major obligations in the PDPA is protection. And under the protection obligation, administrative protection is one of the most important, cheapest ways of protecting your data. And when I teach protection, I said, are you all familiar with cyber attacks? Are you a possible victim of cyber attack? And that's where we bring out the game and we are able to simulate cyber attacks. And in the cards itself, you will see victims, possible victims of cyber attack, and they go like, oh, I'm there. Whoops. This could happen to your company or our company. So that's how it is done. How many players per game? We can play up to 6 players a game, and each game shouldn't last more than 30 minutes. But the very important key role of the facilitator is to bring out the learning point, because there are so many lessons and so much content in PDPA. For those of you who know, you haven't come to my class, that's why lah. And you know, it really is up to the facilitator to choose what learning objective they want to share the class immediately from that point on at that lesson. That's a 3-day lesson. It's really quite long.
Understand. I think someone from the audience has another question. So I think it's more towards the gameplay itself. How many
just answer the question.
The game? What's the duration of the game?
Yeah, I just answered it. The game can play up to 6 players, as most board games, and the game will last about half an hour. And again, we want to encourage the game to be played more than once, which is why we have different levels of difficulty, where I can increase the attack ability of the hackers.
Understand. Maybe one last question. Okay, so from Mei Qian, does a facilitator need any training for this card game?
It is best that the facilitator is, of course, first a practitioner. But even if the facilitator is not a practitioner, we are going to create lessons to help the facilitator teach or facilitate better lessons through the sessions. That's where the future business model will be, where educators can use it. Because I mean, one of the goals is to reach out to educators, people who may not be experts in data protection, but they can use it in their organizations, in the schools, in the companies to facilitate this. And with some learning resource from our team, we are able to reach out to more people and still offer the kind of learning for them to learn about privacy and data protection and cyber hygiene.
Understand. This one last question. Time is running quite quickly. How effective is the board game, and what is the level of interest from the players? And maybe I want to tag on, is it more effective for those who are already exposed to PDPA training and as a sort of like knowledge retention, recall and refresh the knowledge, or is it better for newbies who are new to PDPA?
It will be applicable for both, because you heard the phrase out of sight, out of mind. So the objective of having a activity is to enrich the reminders. As for any company that has a good risk maturity, they will have reminders. And this is one of the activities they can do during the reminders to keep the staff up to date on some of the cyber risks. For the new player, for people who are not familiar with data protection, this is where it gets attention and it creates retention in the mind. Oh, I played this game before. I've touched the cards before. I've interacted before with my colleague, my trainer. So that's where this will be useful for both ends of the learners.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Mark. The next team.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Team Educat to get ready.
Okay, can I just check if you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I will
check the share screen also.
Okay, just give me a moment, yeah.
Yeah. So Team Educat will now share on their one-stop community platform for bite-sized learning and innovation. Seems we got a bit of competition with IEL now. Each team has 5 minutes of sharing and Q&A. Do post your question on the chat or Q&A as yourself or anonymous after the team sharing. Team Educat, your time will start whenever you're ready.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Hi everyone, my name is Sam. Today we'll be talking about the cost of upskilling employees. How much does it cost and is it actually worth it? Now, to know more about this, we have to put ourselves in the shoes of a HR. Now let's go to our scenario where Peter, the human resource from Supply Chain Private Limited, is looking to send 20 employees for a basic Microsoft Excel training course, as having basic Microsoft Excel skills is almost essential in most industries. However, before Peter brings his idea to his boss, right, here are some things he has to consider. Firstly, the cost. A basic Excel course costs at least $300 per person for 3 days. A total of 20 employees would cost $6,000, including their own pay and replacement pay during training, will bring the total up to $20,000. Now, ideally, right, after spending $20,000, we want the employees to apply what they have learned to the company straight away. However, we do have to acknowledge that there are some hidden factors that may prevent this. Things like, oh, your employees are leaving the company. Oh, things like employees need time to practice and refine the skill before they can apply. Or worse, your employees are unable to apply what they have learned. And these are all common things that may happen. On top of that, Peter also has to consider, what if there is a bad economy or the business is not doing well? Is the company going to compromise on the learning and development of their employees? So here comes the million-dollar question. How might we actually create, right, a free and flexible learning space where employees can apply newly learned skills to their company? And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you EduCat. EduCat, a one-stop community platform for bite-sized learning and innovation. We want to provide free and easy-to-learn skills for employees to apply back at their workplace. These skills can be from Excel skills, coding skills, user experience, communication skills, and self-management skills. So how do we work? With our 3 simple steps. Number 1, you create an account in our platform with your company, your email, your password, username. And next, you view from our list of courses where the courses can link from Excel, coding to soft skills like communication. And upon booking your course, right, you actually receive your materials in the form of videos and offline tutorials, which you can complete at any time, own target. And what happens if you face any issues or you have any questions or if any problems? Well, all you have to do is just schedule a consulting sessions on any of the issues you face during the course. So I'm sure you guys are wondering, I know there's LinkedIn Learning, there's YouTube. What makes you guys so different? Well, number 1, we have complimentary consultation, where if you face any issues during the course, you can just schedule a consultation with us and we'll answer any questions you have. Number 2, before you invest any time or effort into learning anything, right, provide a detailed video on the use cases and application of the skill. So you can be rest assured that after going through the course, you can apply the skill back to your company. And lastly, we also provide badges of recognition upon completion of the course. Now, you guys will be wondering, why are we doing this for free? Like, why? So one of the things we realize is that, upskilling shouldn't be a chore or expensive, but should be something fun that people can do on a daily basis. And one of the things that we're aiming at, right, is that for learners, they come to our platform, they learn a new skill. And for the teachers themselves, right, the new digital age and with new skill coming, they actually learn new skills from new generation and become learners themselves, creating that never-ending cycle of learning and teaching. All right, so let's take a quick promo video of what we have to show. Oh, wait, before that, let's just go to a bit of our timeline. So currently now what we're doing is we're getting interest from everyone on what they would like to see on our platform. And in February 2022, will be release of our first content. Our future plans, right, what we actually want to do ideally, right, is to create customized innovation solution where you tell us what you need. Okay, maybe you want to improve a particular work process, you don't know how to do it, we will come up with a specific course for you. Now let's take a look at our promo video. Join EduCat now so that we may help you to bring your employee skills and values to a whole new level. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. I think the first question, I do resonate with this. There's no free lunch in this world. How do you monetize from this business model? You can share a bit more on the business model itself?
Yeah, so this is a very good question that, my team and I are thinking, wow, how are we going to make money from this? Well, ideally, right, what we want to do is we're doing this more for the community, but on the side hustle, right, we're going to open up a YouTube channel, and based on the number of views, you come to our platform, and also with Google AdSense, we hope to receive some profit from there. But again, the whole motto of this is not really to earn money, it's more to create a community where people are motivated to learn and share. Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Next question is, someone from the audience asked, can this be open to individuals instead of company? So maybe perhaps you want to also answer, who's your ideal target audience for this platform?
So our ideal target audience would usually be companies, like for individual company. However, we are also not closing off. If you're just an individual, you're freelance, or self-employed, or not employed, you can also come and learn from our platform. It's totally free. We're just basically aiming to create that guided learning platform for everyone to just learn and share. Yep.
Okay. Next question. Mr. Tommy asked, what is the key difference between your tech solutions compared to the thousands of other providers who does not provide consultancy?
Thousands of other providers.
Yeah. So I think his question is more towards the technical point of view. Is there a difference between your platform and say maybe LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, etc.?
Okay, so the main issue with for me personally, I feel if you go into YouTube or LinkedIn Learning is that there is a point where, let's say if things go wrong, you're unable to understand the course very well, the learning stops there. You can pose a question, but you don't know whether to reply or not. So what we want to do is to create that very guided learning where you go for our course on the platform, and then straight away, if you face any issues, you are able to talk to us. But the main thing at the end of the day, right, what actually quantifies that you have done the course correctly or you have completed a course is whether you're able to apply what you've learned back to your company. So we definitely want a use case in this sense where at the end of the day, you're able to complete a use case or come out with a use case of your own. Yeah.
Understand. Yeah. If there's any more questions from the audience, feel free to just type it in on the Q&A portion. I do want to follow up because you mentioned that there'll be a consultancy side, right? So how do you manage, like if suddenly maybe 10 people come in and then like, is it going to be a 10-to-1? Everyone's fighting for Samuel's time? Or do you have a system behind the scene on managing this?
Yeah, so this is a very good question. So we were also thinking like, oh, let's say we become very successful and like 100 people asking consulting sessions. Well, firstly, right, we make sure that the video itself and the tutorials, right, they're all very detailed and they answer most of the FAQ. And then we also, another thing is to see the level of what they're asking for. If it's something that can be answered over text, we can just do a simple screenshot and then say, hey, is this button? But again, we do have a team that will manage accordingly. So maybe to summarize, depends on number one, how big the problems are. If it's a very simple problem, we can just send you a text and it's a 2-minute thing. But if it's a very big problem, then we'll have to actually do a video call session. Yeah. So it really depends on how big the problem is and what's the question.
Understand. Next question from the audience. Ms. Linda asks, who is providing the lessons? Like who basically authors the lesson?
Okay, so ideally, right, we want working professionals from all around the world, people who are in that current industry. However, to keep this open, right, we're actually opening up to anyone who has the current skill sets to teach. How do we quantify who is qualified, right? Basically, whatever course you post, right, at the end of the day, the learner must have a use case. If your learner do not have a use case at the end of the course, right, your course is not eligible because you can't use it, no point you post it over there. At the end of the day, the learner must be able to do something with the course. So that is the quantifier. So you don't have to be a working professional, or you don't have, maybe you don't have a certified working professional, but as long as you are able to post something, the learner is able to learn that skill and use that skill, then you're quantified. You're qualified to post the course. Yeah, that's how we go with our vetting process.
Okay.
Yep.
Maybe I would like to push you a bit on this, Ms. Linda's question. You mentioned just now on your video on the Python for analytics. So maybe with that example, who created those, and then like how's the response so far?
Well, to be frank, this was just a promotional video, so no one actually created this. Are just stock videos from YouTube. But previously, what I did was I actually did a Excel dashboard for one of my interning companies, and that is something that I can actually transfer that skills to the rest of my colleagues, because they're not very well versed yet in Excel. Yeah. So at the end of the day, sorry, I just at the end of the day, it's just important to have a use case. And I think in learning and development, we always talk about the transference of skills. Like we don't want, you learn something and then when the person leaves, wow, I die already. No one to be able to handle that particular skill. So we want you teach a person well enough so that you can teach someone else, and there's a transfer of skills. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Samuel. The time is up now. We wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Team HappyMeCareer. So let me just first quickly welcome those people who have just recently joined us in the webinar. Thank you very much for sparing your morning today. So the Team HappyMeCareer will now put forward a solution titled Comprehensive Digital Coaching Platform that connects coaches and individuals together through an enriching coaching experience. Team HappyMeCareer, can you check your audio and screen share if it's working?
Thank you, Jonta. Let me do my sharing now.
Yeah, we'll start the time whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Jonta. Okay, so I'm ready now. Any idea how big is coaching business? It is a $2.6 billion industry. Now, living in the aftermath of this global pandemic, COVID, more organizations and individuals are asking for coaching in leadership development, talent development, and performance management. And according to ICF recent research survey, 1 in 4 organizations are allocating 21% of their training budgets to coaching initiatives. In Asia, we are looking at coaching's revenue standing at $126 million. So we are looking at coaching is here to stay. Hi, my name is Mavis. I'm the founder of HappyMeCareer, also ICF ACC coach. Now, as a coach, I can't help to ask, why am I not getting this by share? Right? So as an external coach and my fellow coaches who are also working in organization, we do agree that we spend huge amount of effort in getting buy-ins from stakeholders and customers. And we have to also focus in facilitating coaching conversations so that people get the best coaching experience. At the same time, we've got to manage our coaching credentials and the system to manage coaching practice. Hence, we face these problems. It's very costly in terms of time and money in getting the buy-ins and making ourselves known. Many times we have to go through trial and error and gain painful learnings to set up a coaching business. Yet, we are still struggling to get more customers. So here at HappyMeCareer, we provide coaches the solution to build their coaching niche so that they can afford their marketing with customized marketing strategy, and at the same time imparting the know-how and digitalize their coaching system in one integrated platform. And so HappyMeCareer envisions to create a sustainable coaching and systems, contributing social and economic impact for coaches in Asia through a comprehensive digital coaching platform that connects coaches and individuals together with an enriching coaching experience. So here, as a coach, I so much want a platform and consolidate all the business systems into one where I can just list my profile and gain visibility, and client can just make their bookings according to my schedule. I can even go back to past and existing clients and kickstart conversations to get prospective coaching business. And I so much wish to synchronize the coaching notes, action plans with coaches so that the next upcoming coaching sessions can be productive. Adding on, I like to actually focus and work on my niche. So as we are targeting this group of customers, your millennials, your Gen X, your baby boomers, they are aged 25 to 50s who are seeking coaching. Now let us look at this user, Mary. Mary, age 30, she's female, working for 5 years, once had a dreams to become a marketing director. Because of this COVID, with the uncertainty, she's unsure of her future anymore. She's just living each day as it is. So Mary, she can connect on this platform, HappyMeCareer, to seek for coaching support. To start, she can select any one of these 5 areas, enter into the community and ask the coaching expert in there questions she has in mind. If she feels comfortable with a particular coach, she can just get into a call with the coach. Alternatively, Mary can explore using the pre-coaching filter to matchmake the relevant coaches for herself or experience group coaching from workshops. Now, when we launched in August, we started with 8 coaches. So now we have 21 coaches on board and 1 coach waiting to start our in-house B-Starter program. I am a walking testimonial with our in-house B-Starter program. I used to run webinars with 0 low attendance rate and no outcome. But now with this webinar, I ran 2 webinars, gotten to 43 leads and get 3 paid coaching assignments. So currently our go-to-market strategy is actually on digital marketing. We do collaborations, partnerships, joint events, webinars, and running our own in-house flagship events as well. So because of the value we are presenting for the future, we have these three confirmed partners. Coaching Changes Lives is an accredited ICF coaching academy who helps in the coaching certifications. And there are the two other additional tools that trainers and coaches can use in their coaching services and training with corporates and individuals. So all in all, our summary of our key benefits, we are the only one in Asia that offers integrated B2C coaching platform, building strong coaching support for coaches and coachees, and builds in accountability in the learning journey of both coach and coachees progressions. So here's our team, me, myself, Tony, and Stephen. We have all three comes from rich experience of training, coaching, and technology background. So because of our experience, our business model is running on 4 models: subscription for coaches, platform fees from 10 to 20%, optional add-on in-house program, B-starter program, and affiliation fees with partners. So because of this, the earnings we are projected is growing steadily. And by 3rd year, we are looking at revenue of 1.2 million. And we have many more future developments for the platform, such as building up the online resource learning for coaches, building on the online coaching community as well, pre-coaching filters, chat out individuals' coaching impact at company and business, personal level, integrate psychometric assessment, and ultimately inbuild AI to elevate coaches and trainers' own capacity limitations. Now, today our asking is not funding, our asking is actually for collaboration to carry out pilot runs with IL training and adult educators and corporates to aid in your coaching culture for your employees. Thank you. This is HappyMeCareer, going beyond engagement. Let's connect and talk. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Mavis. One of the person in audience asked, what are your key challenges where you face while trying to secure business opportunities?
The key challenges will be about the most importantly is the value that we are bringing, the platform fees. So we are trying to tier the platform fees according to the various. So the business challenges that we are facing is more about the receptive mindsets from the organizations to hop on board on this platform. So these are the key challenges that we are facing.
Yeah, I do invite the rest of the audience, if you are just join us, to use the Q&A function. The next question from someone in the audience who chose to stay anonymous is, can you link us with your corporate clients, or we have to find our own? So I'm assuming this person is coming as a coach and he or she is a coach. How does the linking work?
Yes, we do work with 2 ways. So we work with coaches who are also providing their services in the organizations. Hence, if they are actually using this as a tool, this is a complementary to the coaching services they have done for their clients to synchronize the coaching notes. On top of that, we do specific projects. And when we have specific projects, we actually will engage some of the coaches we have on board, our committed coaches.
Understand. Next question from the audience is, could you elaborate the context of the coaching? Is there a scope in your coaching platform?
So the coaching runs on 5 areas, as I mentioned. You have your career coaching, your life, you have your mental wellness, you have your family and relationship coaching, as well as business and financial coaching. So in this context, coaching, as long as we qualify our coaches on the platform, of course, the ideal will be ICF certifications, but we also accept certifications such as Coach Marshall Executive Coaching. We also accept Gallup Strength Finders. We also accept MBTI, and EQI. So only certain qualifications we will actually qualify the coaches. So in this context will be the 5 major areas we're looking at.
Understand. Next question from Ms. Susan. Does your membership fee include insurance for coaches?
Okay, I'm not really understand what does it mean as insurance for coaches. Perhaps if it's meant as the ethics point of view, where if there's any protection on data or whatever, we are actually doing that data protection as well. So the membership fees will include just the subscription fees and includes the marketing services that comes with it. So I hope that I answered correctly.
If I can generalize the question a bit more, so like what are the value-added service or maybe the administrative tasks you're taking away from the coaches to make them more productive in your platform? So perhaps that would
yes.
be a general question.
Great, thanks, Jonta. So in terms of that, right, the subscription fee actually includes that administrative of the marketing itself. So we offload the marketing, we features the coaches. We also helps to actually get them involved in more webinars and talks in our specific projects as well. So the administrative wise is perhaps these three range of categories that we are looking at.
Understand. I think Ms. Susan just clarified her question. It's more towards what she meant by insurance is protection of the coaches if there's something that happened to the coachee. So it's in terms of risk management and liability management.
I see. In terms, okay, so the protection of these, right, will mainly because we will draft out a service agreement and contract agreement with the coaches. So in terms of, say, for example, for coaches, definitely when you're on board, there will be two documents, the service agreements and the non-disclosure agreement that actually will enhance that kind of a technical aspect. But when in terms of the coaching conversations, anything that happens with it, we do actually make sure that we have a one-to-one conversation with our coaches to find out what is the situation like, and we will do the service recovery. At the same time, for coachee, they will actually got to know the terms and conditions before they sign up for any coaching conversations. So I think it's also a due diligence on the coach's part to establish that coaching agreement, that coaching space before getting on into the conversation.
Understand. Yeah, can I just trouble you to answer the last question on the chat because the time is up? Thank you so much, Ms. Mavis.
Thank you.
Yeah, for the sharing. Up next, we have Team Trinity Eco. Team Trinity Eco, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, so Team Trinity Eco will share their solution titled Educate Corporate Leaders on Sustainability through Gamification and Industry Engagement Opportunities. Again, if you are just join us, every team will have 5 minutes to share and 5 minutes for Q&A timing as well. Do post your questions on the Q&A and all verbalize after the team sharing. Team Trinity Eco, whenever you're ready, you can start. We'll start the timer afterwards.
All right, sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael, and this is my partner, Elroy, and we are from Trinity Eco. So let's begin this presentation. So I think the biggest problem in sustainability right now is that 60% of them do not know how to be sustainable. It's because it's very complex, and acting on relevant data are still really challenging. It's because the current leadership and management realize that sustainability education is expensive, but it does not emphasize on practicality. It emphasizes a lot of theoretical understanding of the topic. Hence, a lot of them still face the shortage in manpower and skills needed to actually address sustainability challenges in their organization. And because of that, you started to see that most companies are trying to avoid it, or if they do address it, they realize that it's very costly and complex for them. Because of that, a lot of the sustainability reports tend to be overpriced and does not add relevant value to the organizations. So what we do is that we want to make it easier for organizations to educate their workforce and make sustainability much more simpler, affordable, and value-centric for their organization. So what do we do to actually address this educational challenge is that first we help to assess what is their sustainability challenges and to help turn data and knowledge into practicality. So we provide financing and collaboration opportunities using the state-of-the-art technology. And all this costs only about $100 per month. So how do a user usually come onto our platform is that first they actually set up an account and we understand what is their industry, because different industry requires different knowledge. And because of that, it's very user-friendly and does not require prior knowledge on the part of the users to get started on this sustainability education. But we have a very strong product, which is a sustainability readiness index that help them assess the climate risk to their own business and also to help companies to address the skill gaps within their own leadership structure. Plus, we also like I say, we also focus on practicality. So we have a vendor marketplace that allows them to source or commercialize their solutions on our platform. And this is how it will be done for the next few years. And you can see that our education is pretty holistic. Most of the companies will focus mostly on data. So they're mostly focused on the scope 1 to 3 application or the process-driven education. And because of that, we also encourage more people to become paid users of our platform, because we also teach them how to use multiple sustainability tools to address sustainability challenges and to create audit-ready documentations. Plus, we also allow them to monetize the data, because in the end, sustainability need not be a cost. It can be one that can generate revenue for them. So the industry as a whole is about 30.7 trillion, and 50% of users still face that manpower and data challenges. So this is a very huge market for anyone who want to go into this industry. And because of that, we have a wide range of clients from a wide range of sectors, but I'll focus on how we are helping the educational sector do so. So one of the companies that I'm working with is the Right Company, and we already signed an agreement with them to offer training and workshop for sustainability professionals with other universities. And we are organizing one with SMU this month. Fast Hive was one of our partners to help offer training for financial and fashion professionals in this sector. And also SID is one of our primary focus. We are helping them to also help directors of listed companies and corporates to actually offer sustainability training tools, and also teach them how to use the workshops, the tools on our platform. And for some of the unrelated ones like Solian, we also still provide training, and we actually upload our training program on our YouTube channel. But I think the last one is to see the impact that it's bringing to both the businesses and the local communities that they impacted in one of the projects in Papua New Guinea. So because of that, our revenue model has evolved, and we are focusing right now on our freemium model to help people get on board the sustainability education sector, and to turn their sustainability understanding into revenue, as we are generating more revenue also from our marketplace. So our current focus right now is to build a more vibrant ecosystem, to build sustainability business community, and to actually convert them to paid users through education. And because of that, we're not just providing data, we're also providing partnerships and financing opportunities for our clients through education. So our current progress right now is that we recently acquired 2 patents from Nokia to help protect the sensitive data of our users. And we are looking for more partnership with companies and corporates who are looking at improving their sustainability literacy of their employees. This is my team. It was me, Alroy, and Yuri. We have done projects overseas and locally, and have educated and mentored people in this sector. And these are my advisors who actually help us to better understand the sustainability sector, and also how to reach out to our audience. So in short, is that sustainability need not be complex and need not be a cost. With us, we actually simplify it and turn it into something that can generate revenue and value for our clients and their organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Michael. I do invite the audience to ask your question. This is from Miss Rachel from one of the audience. Hi, Michael. Great initiative. Can I ask if there's any way for the business to track their sustainability progress, or is it just restricted to understanding aspects of sustainability?
This is a good question. Yes, in short, there is ways for businesses to actually track their sustainability progress, and there is many tools available out there in the market. But I think the most important thing is these softwares are pretty fragmented, and they only address one aspect of the educational and sustainability process. And what we do is that we address we use a holistic approach towards it and address the whole aspects of it, from not just from the environmental aspects, but also from the social and economic aspects of sustainability.
Yep, and just to add on what Michael said, so there's also an aspect of understanding where you should work on, such as we help you define your 2 most important 17 UN SDG goals that your company has the most impact on. So with that, you can actually track your progress on contributing that goal.
Yeah, thank you so much for that explanation. Maybe I just want to follow up on that. Is with specific to your platform or your vision, do you envision it to be more important on the education part or do you envision it to be more important on the tracking and the dashboarding part?
Actually, it's a bit of both, because they can't address those challenges if they are not educated about it. And like what I explained about the issue and challenges is that most people are not educated yet, because this is still a very broad and new industry. So we need to focus on educating them first before they can understand how to implement it themselves.
Understand. Yeah, so maybe for the audience members, sustainability here refers to not just long-term sustainability, but also sustainability in terms of like meeting UN SDG goal, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. I do invite other audience members to post your question as well. We'll be going for a quick short break after this team. So if you need to get a coffee, anything, do feel free to do that after this. Ms. Susan has another question. Sounds like this is a measure for carbon footprint. If so, how does this contribute to the overall carbon tracking, especially for the companies that may be subjected to carbon tax? Yeah, so I'm just giving you a bit of time to digest the question because it's quite long. When you're ready, you can just share with us your answer on this.
I don't know if anyone would like to answer this question as well, but I'll also answer this as well. What happened is that in short is that we do measure the carbon footprint of the companies, but they're subjected to carbon tax. But I think also because carbon tax is already part of most consumers' expenses when they use electricity or water in Singapore. It's just that they don't say, "Oh, you are paying the carbon tax." They purposely integrate it into your expenses, in the total expenses. So what we do is that we tell you like, okay, this is how much carbon emissions you are producing, and this is how it adds up to your total utility or business costs. And we will actually help you to actually look for solutions to actually not just track your carbon emissions, but also to reduce your carbon emissions. Because if you look at the Singapore Green Plan, which was recently announced by the Prime Minister, this is not going to drop, it will actually increase. So this will mean increased business costs for Singapore businesses. So it's really important that that companies now move towards sustainability, because it is more than just a cost-saving measure, but one that gives businesses a competitive advantage over your regional competitors and international businesses abroad. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, thank you so much for answering. It's quite a challenging question. But do take it offline, Ms. Susan, if it doesn't really satisfy your question, because we're running out of time. So thank you so much, Mr. Michael. We're going for a short break now. We'll come back again at 11:03. So I'll go for a short bio break. It's been 1 hour. A long Zoom session is not the way to go. So see you in 3 minutes time. All right. Who will be presenting a solution titled "A Personalized App That Allows Learner Access to Learning and Work-Related Content from Multiple Entities Within a Single Application." For team acquisition, whenever you're ready, you can start.
Yeah, can you see my screen, Janta?
We
I am
can
ready.
Screen,
okay.
Your audio is good and your video is showing.
Great. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, IL, for this opportunity to speak at this forum and present. So I'm going to be talking about MyAcquisition, but a little bit about ourselves. Acquisition per se, we've been around for a while now. We're about a 6-year-old Singapore company. We are a no-code application that's focused on people-centric digital transformation, and eventually the aim being to drive operational excellence. We've had a lot of customers across the world, but today I'm not going to be talking to you about our core product, but we're going to be talking about a specific challenge that we addressed in this particular innovJam competition, which is really about why do we and how do we facilitate ongoing learning among employees and maybe gig workers who are all part of maybe small enterprises. Why is this important? Because I think if you look at it, we all know that we've all been going through a changing world of work, which is changing very dramatically every minute of the day. And it's possible that if you are working for a large MNC, there are ways and means in which you can overcome these turbulent times. You can withstand all those shocks and you can overcome all this and maybe come out successful. But if you look at the context of Singapore, Singapore is largely a lot of small enterprises. There are very few large entities, but there are a large number of small entities. And unfortunately, the reality is that the brunt of the problem is invariably faced by the small enterprises and the workers of these companies. And unfortunately, the reality is that this is compounded by the gig economy. And I don't think I need to explain what the gig economy is, but that's the other big thing which is changing, which is a changing trend. So the question really is that, are we heading for an impending crisis? Because we all know that reskilling and upskilling is extremely important. This is more so for SMEs because that's where the work is changing. But however, if you're a typical SME, and I'm one myself, so I know that you don't really have the time and effort. There are other pressing needs. It's about the survival that's the focus. Sending people to training and other things is the last thing on your mind. So we are probably heading for a crisis. So this is where we said, what can we do about it? So we came up with something called MyAcquisition. What is MyAcquisition? MyAcquisition is a simple tool. We all are familiar with the learning management systems, where typically you have content which is developed centrally and rolled out to an audience which is probably dispersed. So you have one to many, so to say. So you have content that's done. What we've done with MyAcquisition is we've reversed the whole thing. So we've made a personalized application where you as an individual, and you could be a gig worker, you could be working for an SME, you have access to content from multiple sources. And this could include work procedures from your employees, because I think we've got to recognize that when it comes to small enterprises, it's probably not just about training content, but it's also work-related content, which could be as simple as a standard operating procedure or anything else, which is where I actually learn work. Because I don't necessarily learn from just doing a training program. I learn because there is an operating instruction which tells me exactly what I need to do and how I need to do this. So that's what happens. That's how me as an individual, I get information from multiple sources. It could be trade associations, which are going to give me some information. It could be regulatory agencies. It could be my employers, and I could be employed with multiple employers. I get all of it in one platform. From a curation standpoint of view, the entity that's curating the content basically has a very, very simple drag and drop interface, which we have repositioned what we already have. So with that drag and drop interface, you can build content. And if you are the end user, you can pull the content for free. So you don't, as an end user, pay for the content. You really pull it for free from the source that you're subscribing to, which could be your employers, like I said, associations, it could be individual trainers or other coaches or anybody else. So for example, in this case, I'm probably having multiple entities I'm working with, and I get content from all these sources. So what do? The content itself can be in the form of, again, like I said, it can be rolling content or work-related content. I can just drag it. I can kind of access the content. I can get access to all the information that's required as part of work. The sources are acknowledged. And once that is done, I can perform the tasks and then complete the modules and learn on the job. So our pedagogical model is a very, very, very simple and straightforward model. Our pedagogical model is one where we believe that it's really all about learning and working happening at the same time. You cannot disassociate learning and working, because if you want to learn continuously, you've got to be integrating it to work. So by blending learning and work into one platform, we believe that by combining your learning information as well as your standard operating procedures, we believe that you'd be able to continually upskill, particularly if you're a small enterprise, and particularly if you are somebody who needs to continually learn on the job. So we developed MyAcquisition actually as a social obligation. We built this as a rapid tool. It's actually a morphing of some other platform we built. We built it because we thought that we owe a mark of gratitude for the frontliners who really need all of this the most, but who probably don't have the access to it. So this was how we built it. But what is in it for you? So we have something for everybody. If you are an educator, come on board. This is a platform with which you can use to build content for a global audience. If you want to monetize it, there are opportunities to monetize it, but that's not the intention here. If you're a small enterprise, you can digitalize your standard operating procedures, make it available to your people. If you're a trade association and you want to communicate rapidly information relating to some changes in the industry, all of that is possible. Again, there's multiple things possible. Affordability has been a key factor for us. We really, as a matter of fact, if it's not for profit or if it's in trade association, we don't even charge anything. The educators, the end users get the content for free. But if you're an adult educator, we plan to put a very, very, very small fee, which gives you access to unlimited access to the users, because the users don't pay any fees. So if you're interested, we still are having some final touches to the product. We probably expect that it should be rolled out in maybe about a month or so. If you're interested, just scan this QR code, give us your details and we will set up the account for you. We will have a onboarding session and bring you on board. That is about it from my side. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sekar. So for the audience member who are tuning in at home, do use the Q&A button on the bottom middle section of the Zoom. Just type in your questions. We do allow anonymous ask as well. So maybe I'll just roll the first question is, I probably will repeat similar question I've asked previous team, is that what makes this different than the currently established sort of like learning platform with built-in content, such as Coursera, learning? What's that sort of like the unique selling point, or what makes it different?
I think the difference is context, because in most learning platforms, what you really have is standardized content, which is not relevant to maybe many organizations. So the way I knead dough in my bakery could be very different from the way it's done in a standard application, which is probably shown in Coursera or somewhere else. So I would have a recording. If I were a small enterprise, I would take a recording of how it's to be done in my job, put that into the platform so that my employee has the one which is relevant to my thing. So I think the huge difference is contextualization. There is a big difference between context and content and context. And I believe while content is king, context is God. So this platform is about providing that contextual knowledge that one needs as part of work.
Understand. We have a question from the audience from Ms. Lily. Would it be difficult for older workers who might not be IT savvy to use your platform?
I believe that's not the case. As a matter of fact, we've rolled this out to a large number of construction workers as part of during the COVID situation. So it has I'm just showing you a quick application. This is not the exact application. So for example, this could be somebody who's say working for, let's say he's doing some work at height activity. So you have information that's readily accessible. There's really nothing required. You can go there. You can quickly click on a button. It's absolutely simple and easy to use. And it really depends on what kind of content you have. No logging in, no passwords, no big deal. You can get started almost instantly and get into all the content you want. If you want to search for content, you can go and search for the content. So it's all available and very simple to use. Our fundamental philosophy in this development is it has to be absolutely simple to use. That's been the hallmark of our development process.
Understand. I hope that answers your question, Ms. Lily. Maybe the follow-up on this is, you mentioned about the example you rolled it out for foreign workers. Is the language barrier that you see happening?
Right. And again, I repeat that when you give organizations a platform through which they can rapidly curate the content, they can do this in any language. So in this case, for example, if you want a recording, if you want to send out to your people, you can do that. So it's absolutely, it's a very relevant question. And this is where I think the flexibility of having a platform in which you can put content in any language comes to play. That's very true.
Okay, we have space for one final question from the audience member. If you want to unmute yourself, just raise your hand or just signal to us via chat, and we'll be able to allow you to have access to unmute yourself and verbalize the question. Yes, the question has come in. It's from Anonymous. I assume content and context is provided by organization for their staff, and therefore the platform will act as an enabler. Is this assumption correct? And then if it is, as an enabler, what does it do to augment the learning experience? So maybe tackle the first question first. Is the assumption correct?
Yeah, the assumption is absolutely correct. This is intended to be that contextual and content that an organization can provide for their staff. If this is as an enabler, what is, yeah, basically you can augment the learning experience because this platform also has the inbuilt capability to broadcast notifications at periodic intervals. So if you want to go back and say that, look, I want to kind of go ahead and start, sending out a push notification at periodic intervals to reinforce the knowledge, this platform can enable that. So you can send out push notifications and have them being quizzed on their understanding at various intervals, and then find out, have they really got the context and have they understood what they're doing? So you do have a mechanism to send out post-learning activities so that it can ensure that the transfer of learning has happened effectively.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sekar. We have one more question from the audience, but your time is up. Could I trouble you to answer the question via text on the Zoom platform? Thank you very much for the time and the deep dive into the platform. Up next, we have Team Meet Moms. Team Meet Moms, you take over the screen sharing. Your videos and all videos coming through. Just check through your screen sharing at the moment. Yes. Okay. So
can you see my screen?
Yes, we can, and you're allowed.
All right.
So Team Meet Moms will now share on their platform titled "Connect Experts and Create Learning Opportunities for Mothers in the Community" through a Tinder-like plus marketplace app. Team Meet Moms, whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to start with the quote that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, so we have heard. But when the journey is motherhood, we are all biased and tend to jump to a conclusion that the woman would be prepared for all answers, forgetting one simple fact, that the birth of a child is also the birth of a mother. Her struggles are real, her time to learn limited, her support needs 24 hours. Across the spectrum of her physical, emotional, psychological, medical, social needs, at every stage of motherhood, she is left figuring out, filtering and relying on peer-to-peer connections, recommended groups, or as our survey suggested, Google for most of her answers. Let's face it, motherhood is hard. By offering a bridge between mothers as a community and the commercial ones amongst us, from subject matter experts, healthcare professionals, specialists, coaches, a platform has created an artificial intelligence-based time-saving platform where mothers can directly learn individually or in groups based on their current stage of motherhood. Backing this lead generation created through the platform for our experts, the experts in return get to understand the pain points of the users, the psychographic analysis and behaviors of mothers based on cultural differences, purchasing power parity, and more. How would we do this? Creating a user-friendly Tinder-like app for moms, where moms also get a chance to swipe and connect with other like-minded mothers based on kids' age, common interests, and favorite times to meet. At the same time, gain access to experts for verified information through the way of a user-generated marketplace that covers services across different verticals that a mother would need based on location, cost, urgency, through user guides, certifications, or availing services from the experts directly. Thus, supporting the mothers to learn and upskill their own skill set and ultimately becoming just a user of the app to also offering and being an expert or a supplier to the app. Creating the first step of interaction and testing the grounds in terms of providing a leveling playing field between big brands and specialists in offering their services, the platform creates interest-based admin and expert-led community groups where open communication and the aspect of learning, growth, empowerment within the community occurs. And as a solution, offering an ecosystem called Mums, which not only connects mothers' own brands, mothers and experts, but also creates an ecosystem of a learning. Our MVP model, which has been launched, has already connected mothers to women-owned brands and others, and is currently working on offering connecting mothers to experts. Keeping in mind the early needs of a mother, we are also currently testing a subscription-based package bundle called Mom's Box of Love, which is basically a postpartum box which connects women-owned led brands as well as experts, where they can create a learning atmosphere and support for the system. Our hope is that in future, we can change the narrative of a survey analysis where we had 0% users marking as gaining support from experts and specialists. Why now? With 50,000 births per year in Singapore and 30,000 births per day in Southeast Asia, the mom market is booming. Last year alone, with $74 billion US in business in Singapore, I believe there is a dire need of an ecosystem that not only reduces the learning time for these mothers, but also provides a commercially viable solution that helps mothers empower their motherhood with confidence. We strongly believe in collaboration over competition. Our invitation today is to invite core industry experts, coaches, collaborators with whom we can build a platform at a time, focusing on mothers, especially in a strained community where otherwise, instead of surviving alone, we can actually thrive together. with the lean team that has generated a revenue of $70,000 with its paid partners and have helped create a lead generation of close to 1,000 members. Our aim is to expand our team across Singapore and Hong Kong so that in this journey of motherhood, we can create an ecosystem of learning, upskilling, so that no mother has to do it again alone. Thank you so much. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Team Meet Moms. We're going to open the question now for the audience members. So please feel free to use the Q&A button on the Zoom session. Maybe I'll just start the ball rolling by asking about, okay, I'm not a mom. I do not have a wife. I have very little idea on what this motherhood has to offer. But maybe what are the biggest challenges in terms of like being a new mother that you can solve through your platform with maybe an example with censored name perhaps?
Sure. So as we understand, we all talk about adolescence, right? We all know the changes that happen through adolescence, but the awareness that happens, which is a term called matrescence, which is the process of being a mother when a woman becomes a mother. The awareness of this is that a mother requires across the spectrum of medical financial needs support. And thus through the platform not only connects mothers to a community of local moms where she can meet in a hybrid online-offline setup, creating the support within the community, offering asking for SOS or asking for basic questions as a support through a learning background. But at the same time, that information is verified by experts. The whole aspect of being able to have authentic information and not just a group information where the experts get an opportunity to also understand the pain points of a mother. What are the challenges that are faced across Asia towards different cultural backgrounds? What are the support she would need and cater to providing that? We keep running a lot of polls and services, and the mothers get an opportunity to not just understand and learn through these polls and services, but also connect with the local community to find solutions in attending group sessions together. So the whole idea is to create this learning through networking, as well as having a verified stamp through the experts, rather than just being another Google for answers.
Understand. Is follow up by one of the question. Is this platform only focused for young mothers? Is that your target audience that you want to first?
Yeah, so our focus has been open for mothers catering to all ages, but definitely primarily the audience that we have about 70% of audience with kids related, with kids aged like 6 and 7 and below, and 30% of our audience is with kids aged 15, 16 and 17. Thus, across the challenges, the idea is we have tied up with brand partners who can cater to even issues like screen time, issues like breastfeeding. So the idea is across the spectrum of mothers at every stage of motherhood where she needs the support. But primarily, we are not at the moment catering to like the ages of like maybe 60 and above. But yes, definitely below that, we are trying to cater because we are creating a marketplace of mothers where they can connect and meet with each other, as well as gain access to a chance to learn and upskill their skill sets through experts.
Okay, so the next question is this solution Singapore-centric, or as you mentioned, you have mentioned about regional data, is more towards a regional focus or region-neutral content or approach?
Sure. So the platform is absolutely scalable. At the moment, we have a lot of users from Hong Kong and Singapore. And once we have a more stable setup in terms of the product launch, that is when it can be easily scalable across Southeast Asia. Our focus is to be at the moment within Asia, because there is a lot of diversity in terms of cultural backgrounds in case of the needs of the mothers. And thus the need is that based on experts that are present, as well as the differences within the cultural background, the idea is to keep understanding the different demographics that we have within the region.
Okay. Next question is going to be quite challenging. So how do you cope with different cultural norms and values that will influence advice given? I'm guessing that no one way of motherhood is correct. How do you deal with this?
So I think that's a brilliant and beautiful question. In fact, through our platforms, we have had, and I personally as a mother, being an Asian mom, we have a lot of concepts, for example, of confinement, which basically the Westerners don't have the concept. To idealize the issue with this is lack of awareness. Just because we, as mothers, we are not aware and are set into our cultural setups and are not aware of different cultural, cultural ways of handling motherhood, awareness brings a major difference. By incorporating different cultural practices into our own needs, it kind of only helps. The only lack of problem is lack of awareness, but once accept across different cultures, across cross cultures, when the aspect of confinement or the aspect of actually moving out, having fresh air, it's a very personalized way of approaching motherhood, so that ultimately it becomes a blissful journey and not just a cultural norm to be followed.
Okay, thank you so much, Nifekna. Our time is unfortunately up. There's one more question in Q&A. I do hope that you can write your written response to this question.
Sure.
Next team from Team Joyful Person, could you just stand by? Take over the screen sharing.
Yeah, okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jonathan. Hello, everyone. I'm Wei Lin. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Joyful Person. We deliver training to the frontline workforce via WhatsApp. Now, before I proceed further, we'd just like to do a quick definition of what we mean by frontline. Basically, we're referring to the deskless workforce, so that it can be anyone from your baristas, your bakers, all the way to insurance agents, as well as real estate agents. So, did you know that annual staff turnover rates in, let's say, F&B and other frontline industries can be as high as 70%? And are you facing these problems in your organization? The main reason why staff quit is because they lack the confidence to perform their tasks due to a lack of timely training. Just imagine the next product launch that comes out along the way. How do we expect our staff to suddenly know all the details they need to know and react upon it? And as we speak now, L&D teams or learning and development teams are struggling to train their frontline workforce, hundreds of them across multiple locations. Simply put, the existing learning management systems are not designed for the frontline. Just imagine the technical hurdles of getting some of our more senior staff to download or to learn how to use a new app. My goodness, that's like teaching my mom how to use Google Drive. Content creation for existing learning management systems generally take a longer time, and existing teaching pedagogies on these legacy systems are simply not suited for frontline needs. Our solution? Well, Joyful Person helps L&D teams to rapidly deploy training content via their favorite text message platforms, improving the performance of the entire workforce in days, not months or years. So at this point in time, let me invite everyone to just take out your handphones with me now, all right, and scan the QR code at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, all right? So I would like you to try, to experience, all right, how this deployment is done instantly, okay? So as you are doing that, okay, scan the QR code, your WhatsApp will open, go ahead and press send, and your course will begin. Now, as you are doing that, let me share about a use case that happened so recently. Do you all recall that in about 2 to 3 weeks ago, our Prime Minister came in front of our national television and shared with us about all the new COVID changes. Within the next 36 hours, we deployed for one of our clients a COVID refresher training course to ensure that all their frontline workers are compliant with the new COVID measures. All right. Okay, so as you continue to try the course, I hope you are enjoying the course so far. Okay, let me carry on. So, are you looking to do the following? Are you looking to onboard your new staff 3 times faster in short bursts of training rather than getting them to sit through like a 3-hour long presentation? Are you looking to increase your level of staff engagement? Are you also looking to basically ensure that compliance is done so quickly in just a matter of minutes? Well, now you can. So our services include the following. Basically, we are running a software as a service model where you can purchase a number of licenses based on your needs. But it's not about the cost, right? It's about your ROI. Just imagine reducing your hiring and training costs by more than 25% at a small fee of just $5 per user per month. How does that sound? Now, you must be wondering then, how does this work? Okay, let me show you a quick overview of how courses are created. So basically, L&D teams can author and publish courses in a snap. In addition, the next question you must be wondering about is, how then do you ensure that the learners are able to start on the course? You can't be taking a QR code to them and put it in their face, right? So, well, we've already launched a personalized SMS reminder service, whereby learners will receive a scheduled SMS course link personalized to their name. Now, even learning reminders have been automated. So these are some of the brands that we are working with so far, all right? So some of the use cases are, for example, in the areas of customer service training, a COVID refresher training, for example, product training for organizations who are constantly launching new products every other month, and of course, in the areas of workplace safety and hygiene. This is our team, all right? Our CTO, Dr. Darryl, he's a specialist in the area of natural language processing. Our COO is a former product manager at a travel startup, and Jen heads our head of content. Myself, I was a former MOE scholar turned serial entrepreneur. So my foray in the F&B industry have given us various insights as to how to train our frontline workforce. So before I go, I would just like to leave everyone with a question. Hey, what if our next series of COVID SMM measures are going to change this weekend? Are you ready? How are you going to ensure that this information are well compliant among your workforce? Well, simply put, launch a joyful course today. Yeah, so if you're interested, just reach out to us via this number or this email. Thank you.
Thank you very much, William.
Thanks, Shanta.
We have a very quick question from the one of the audience. Is this a subscription-based charge for corporate? Are you at this juncture comfortable to release the information on the exact number, maybe ballpark figure?
A ballpark figure on the prices, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So for our corporates who are first time onboarding with us, we generally encourage them to try a pay-per-use model first, so they can launch one course to try out how it works. And only if they are satisfied and they are happy, then we will explore further like an annual subscription. Yeah. A ballpark figure would be $5 per user per month for annual subscription. And of course, the more users you have, the better the pricing becomes.
So I'd like to encourage everyone to put down your question on using the Q&A button. So maybe I'll just ask the next question is, do you face any resistance, like for people, especially those who advocate for, I want my personal life, I don't want you to be contacting me in my personal phone number? Is that a resistance that you face, especially for frontline workers that you have faced?
Yeah, so far in all our use cases, there hasn't been such a complaint per se. Yeah, and the reason, we are always trying to strike a balance between using, getting them to use a new app which they're not familiar with. There's always this problem about forgetting passwords and stuff like that, versus, delivering content, meeting the users where they are on a platform that they are already familiar with. So the way to mitigate that and to find that balance is to basically have a discussion with the client to schedule content at a reasonable pace. So maybe say a training of once or twice per month, 5 minutes per session, and then that would be reasonable as opposed to a daily kind of influx of content.
Understand. The next question comes from Ms. Shannon. What security measures do you have in place to ensure the content is exclusive and not accessible by other users? So bearing in mind, it's very easy to just screenshot content from like WhatsApp and distribute it around.
Okay, maybe my co-founder Winnie can help to take that.
So for us, for a lot of the deployments that we do for all the clients, right, we actually require the company to provide a list of employee phone numbers as well as a secondary authentication, like for example, the staff IDs, as well as maybe like your last 4 digits of the NRIC. So what happened is that we actually save this list. I mean, we actually encrypt all this data on our backend, and then upon when the user accesses the link that is shared by the company, only authorized users on the list are actually able to access the content. So unless basically authorized employees are only allowed to access the content. So if let's say you come from outside the company, you actually wouldn't be able to start the course at all.
So are you saying that like the WhatsApp is just a way to sort of like push and signpost people to your own platform? Is that correct? So the content delivery itself is not within WhatsApp?
No, it's still, so basically it's still within WhatsApp. So basically the quiz, as per, let's say if you guys have scanned the QR code, do a trial or demo. So the course where the quiz, the information is still published on WhatsApp. So unfortunately, because if you think about it, like even if let's say you were to use a learning app, you can't stop someone from taking a screenshot to forward. If let's say whether it's on WhatsApp, is it on like, you know, other LMS that we're familiar with. But the one thing we definitely do as a gatekeeping in the beginning is only to allow authorized employees to even begin the course. So if let's say your number is not, or your number or your staff ID or any form of identification is not pre-registered with us and provided by the company, you wouldn't be able to gain access to any form of content.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for answering the question. So unfortunately, your time is up. Any further question? Maybe just flash the screen one more time on where they can contact you guys. Wei Lin has that info.
Yeah, sure. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Feel free to take a screenshot. Yeah. Thank you, Janta.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Team Joyful Person.
Thank you.
So up next, we have Team Startup Forest.
Hello.
Just take a screen share.
Hello. Can you guys hear me, Janta?
Yes. Video is
Hello,
good.
thank you. Yeah, let me just share it right now.
Yes. While he's setting up, Team Startup Forest to put forward a solution titled a fully interactive web application that helps new founders learn how to launch their startup quickly.
Hello, can you see it?
Yes, screen share coming through.
Cool. Thank you so much for checking us out. This is Derek representing Startup Forest, which is a one-stop platform for startup founders. And I'm going to start quickly with just a few quick questions. Number one, you know, have you ever, maybe yourself or know someone around you who thought about things like this? Will my idea work out? It's too risky, or it's just a side hustle. I can't quit my full-time job because I need to fund the business with my salary, or things like I have an idea, but I just can't seem to find the right partners. It's all too common, and it's a very common problem that, you know, my community members face all the time. Founders today waste too much time on things that do not move the needle. And founders today don't share their ideas enough because they don't want their ideas to be copied. They only share their ideas with people they trust. So they often lose out on a lot of potential co-founders, investors, or even good employees. And finally, founders validate their ideas last. They end up doing everything else. They spend all the time, all the money doing everything else before even validating if the idea works or not. So the solution here is a one-stop platform that helps new founders find partners, validate their ideas, and launch their startup in the shortest amount of time. So they can save money, focus only on what matters, and get connected with co-founders, investors, and potential employees. So the market today, there's over 8 million new businesses opening each month around the world, with 4,000 plus being in Malaysia and 5,000 plus being in Singapore, which are the two demographics that we're very familiar with. And yeah, so just a little bit of this. We've done this manually to test the idea out. We've hosted 3 networking events. We've co-founded projects with 5 new partners that we've met through these networking events, and they all have similar pain points, which led us to making a revenue of over 100,000 by providing tech and marketing support to our partners, our equity partners, which we feel like it's time for us to build systems to automate most of the things that we do for them anyways. And this is where we come in. So step 1 for Startup Forest platform, it is a business plan software that allows you to that guides you to fill up key information that really requires you to truly understand what your business is about, all the key metrics, and for you to only key in once. And then founders can choose if they want, you know, which information to be public and which ones to be private. Step 2, automate. All these things here are all one-click buttons where they can click once to have their landing pitch set up based on the information they have here. And they can also with one click, start running their ads with every information that they have here automatically all in place for them to be able to validate the idea and generate leads ASAP. They can also then, with one click, export their pitch deck in a very nice design that matches their brand color and share it immediately with their potential investors, partners, or employees. And finally, step 3 of the platform, which is launch and learn. Here, after you have your base set up and you've automatically set up your ads to get more traffic, you set up your website, you've set up your pitch deck, you can then use the marketplace services to see all potential investors or partners, and you have full control on exactly what you want to show and to whom you want to show it to. And also on the learning side, you can also, and also on the marketplace side, you will also be able to either sell a chunk of your business or your entire business, or and likewise for investors to be able to buy businesses as well. And for the learning part of things, you can receive feedback from other users, founders, investors, and also get a lot of very good entrepreneurial learning content that would be really, really useful for early stage startup founders, and also get matched to talents who are already interested in startups, because we all know how hard it is to find good talents today, especially to work for a very early stage startup. And I know there are people out there like that who are interested to look for companies like this to work for as well. So this is the platform that will be able to help them match this early stage employees with early stage startup founders. So who will use this? First-time entrepreneurs, anyone who is concerned about having their ideas copied, anyone who wants to validate their idea fast, retail and angel investors, for us to open up a new channel of investments for them for pre-seed or early stage idea stage startups, and also job seekers who really want to only work in startups. So who are we? Just a quick one. My name is Derek, and this is my co-founder Ming. We've co-founded the Hacker Collective, which is a startup and tech company with over 500 community members. So Startup Forest is the solution that we see will take away a lot of our struggles that many of us face when it comes to launching, validating ideas, and also looking for potential stakeholders and partners in new businesses. So just to recap, it's a one-stop portal for startup founders in Southeast Asia, and automate your launch of your company, find investors, co-founders, hire employees, and also allow you to learn the basic stuff when it comes to setting up a business, the crucial basic stuff. And thank you. That's all I have for today, and I'm happy to take some questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Mr. Derek. We'll open the question to the floor. Please feel free to use the Q&A function on the Zoom. Maybe I'll just start the ball rolling. Is that in terms of your biggest pain point that you see, you do mention that you have gotten a revenue of about 100K. Where is most of that chunk coming from? Which biggest pain point?
It's primarily coming from the fact that a lot of our partners, on top of that 100K, we also take equity in their business as well. So the money is actually going more towards staff cost, which is to build our marketing side of things and also the tech side of things. They have an idea, they have a business running, but they don't know how to launch it. And they also don't know about the nitty-gritty details of running a startup. And all they do is they are very familiar with the exact industry or niche that they're in, and they want to focus most of their time in that industry to generate cash flow for this business.
I see. Maybe I just want to poke your brain a bit on the L&D application. So do you feel that this could help in the L&D application for the startup, where they outsource L&D to you, especially for newer stuff, or maybe bigger companies to spin off some L&D effort to or startup in this way?
In terms of L&D, there are 3 target audiences that we're targeting. So investors, entrepreneurs, and also staffs. So staffs will get to learn all the key skills that they need to have when it comes to getting employed by a startup. Investors will get to learn a new channel of understanding where they can get leads from. And it's not just for angel investors with a high net worth. This is now opening up a new channel for us, the normal retail investors, your mom and pop investors. They get to learn a lot more about startups and all the deal sourcing and valuation side of things for them. And finally, for the founders, yes, they learn about everything from business development to marketing to tech to design to everything that goes into your stage 0 of starting a business. Not the big parts when you start scaling things up, but really more on the launching side of things.
I see, understand. I think I have one more question from Ms. Susan from the audience is, how different are you with the likes of Tech Transfer Office within Institute of Higher Learnings? Actually, do you see them as competition, or do you see them as a potential partner?
Not exactly. We are more focused on entrepreneurship and really just building startups. In terms of technology, yes, you're right. We do focus a lot on technology, but this platform is not here to automate no-code platforms like Bubble or Adalo. Those are the platforms that helps you build web applications without code. This is really more on you writing, because a lot of people today don't know how to even use drag and drop builders. All they do is, but they need to really understand how their business works. They just write it all out in a platform. You can even look at it like writing it in a Google Doc, right? And transferring it into this platform where it then automates your website for you, your landing page for you, and then runs the ads for you to generate leads and capture and gain traction for the business.
Yeah. I think just follow up on that is, do you see them as a competitor or do you see them as a potential partner?
A potential partner.
Okay.
Definitely.
I hope that answers your question, Ms. Susan. So I guess I want to sort of like zoom out a little bit where some of our audience members here are corporate, where if they have their own idea to spin off and on their own, they can find you personally. But as an employee of a corporate, how does a solution help them in terms of like their L&D portion?
Okay, I think that's a very, very good question. In fact, a few of our partners are actually corporate staffs. They make an okay salary, but they cannot leave the salary because there's a very high opportunity cost. They have to pay for their bills and all that, right? So instead of going deep and investing in marketing and technology, and you spend like 80% of salary on that, instead of doing that and going hungry, what we say is use this platform for $9 per month, write down your ideas, and this platform will generate you all the leads for you to even prove whether or not your idea works. Because today, when it comes to starting a business, there's a lot of risk, and one big risk is idea risk. I'm assuming you're not copying someone else. You're not copying someone else's idea. If it's a brand new idea, there's always a risk. For example, like Airbnb, there's always a risk where you don't know if the idea would work, right? Because like if you zoom out, go back in the days, Airbnb, they wouldn't even know that people are okay with strangers leaving their house. So that is a concept that we want to prove. And you don't need to build a full platform to even know if people will use this. As a corporate staff, you can take a small chunk of your salary, write down your business idea, your proposal, your pitch to your potential users, and everything is automated out, getting leads for you, and you can see what people think about your idea before you even quit your job or before you even dedicate more funds to grow it from there.
I'd like you to just flash out your contact page again so that people can take a screenshot or just ways to contact you.
Thank you. Yeah, just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Derek, for
thank
the
you.
time.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
The questions. Up next, we'll have our team learning with autism. So could you just take over the screen share at the moment? Team with learning autism.
Thank you. Just give me a while. I'm just setting things up. Okay, just give me a second.
No worries. Yeah, we'll start the timer when you are ready.
Sure. Let me just do my screen share now.
So Team Learning Autism will share their solution on titled Living with Autism the Bukit Batok Way, a learning platform to build an inclusive environment for persons with autism in our neighborhood. Please go ahead.
Sure. Thank you everyone for listening in, and that I think my presentation will be very different from everyone else, and I hope that this social learning will be meaningful for whoever was listening in, whether you're from the corporate side or you're more from the educational side. So 50,000, huge number, 50,000. What does that mean? There are actually 50,000 persons with autism living in Singapore, based on a 1% estimation for it. So persons with autism, there's nothing too scary about these special needs. I mean, they are living amongst us, and that very often they are contributing members of the providing services and also consumer of services. However, this period of time during the pandemic, which impact all Singaporeans and residents, I think it impact people with special needs even more of persons with autism. So Bukit Batok is a town that's about 44,000 residents, and that if you're talking about the 1%, so probably about 400 persons with autism. And how much of Bukit Batok residents really know much about autism? We have an Eden school that's right in our town, but from anecdotal understanding, it seems like the understanding of autism is very, very low amongst our residents. In fact, some of them even say I heard things like, oh, people like autism, siao one, I don't want to talk to them. These are things that we hear. So we have a big challenge to work on in the town itself, but it's a challenge that we feel that it can meet a gap. And this gap is not just at the town level, it probably has huge national level impact that we can move along. But everything had to start small, everything had to start possible. So Bukit Batok is a town that is very densely populated, probably one of the most densely populated town in the whole of Singapore. And during this pandemic period where many people are all affected and when you're living in such close quarters, we have many neighborly issues that come about that requires grassroots to be involved. So person with autism are the individuals in question that we have right now. And that in general is often the government-led in terms of the support that's being provided. And I'm so glad that this year, 2021, Mayor Denise put up a presentation to the Parliament about having an enabling master plan specific for persons with autism. Although it's a great idea to start somewhere, the reality is that many times when it's more government-led, things tend to be more rigid and it takes a lot longer time to implement. And where can we find a space in the middle between private as well as government that allows more flexibility yet well supported by the various parties? And this term, 危机, in the most dangerous time, there's always great opportunity. And I think during the time of COVID period, it's a great opportunity for social learning. I think we're being pushed and we're being forced to do a lot of learning specifically for our individuals and our social needs. So we can get the different parties to come in together to learn together and contribute to build Bukit Batok to be a kind and inclusive town. This is a social learning experience, not just for the residents, but also allies. Who are our allies? I'll share a few more in a minute's time. So looking to the vision of this initiative, we hope to be able to build up the knowledge, skills, and effective level of all the different parties. So we definitely understand that when it comes to the residents of Bukit Batok, they may not be ready to be able to accept persons with autism, but they need to be trained and given the kind of skill sets, as well as the emotional impact on what they're hoping to be able to achieve. I'm very glad to have been linked up to Dr. Arthur Chia, who is a co-author for the 6 Principles of Learning Design, to look into translating his principle that he has come up with several years ago into something practical at Bukit Batok. Arthur summarized in a beautiful way. 6 Principles of Learning Design is about thinking of how to design learning in a holistic way to make it expansive and transformative experience. Really, for Bukit Batok residents, it's going to be transformative. A lot of major change and directions that we have. So hoping to start small with some small initiative in the town, then we move on to other areas as well as expanding to others, Southwest CDC side. Looking into what you can see, we have come up with quite a lot of stuff being done, and then we also look into proper parade initiatives as well as exhibitions, and these will all come out in the next couple of years, but you have to start somewhere. And last week, Singapore Kindness Movement published an article in relation to what we are doing, and I'm just going to put up some of the things that they shared so that it is from a third party. This is an example of a blended form of interactions between our learning experience, having autism association to be more training. We also have look into the effective level, how volunteers who are impacted by it, they feel that they want to do much more about that. So alignment is one of the 6 principles that's being looked into, and we strongly feel that there is a lot of synergy in looking into that and having the companies to look into working together on autism-friendly business environment. And this is some of the volunteers who has experienced the learning and then trying to influence the various parties to be involved in Purple Parade, which is just one of the initiatives. And of course, you can see that our advisor is being involved, and he also focused on talking about how you want to make it be inclusive in our town itself. Another principle, of course, is about authenticity. I think it's very important to be authentic in the learning. And just yesterday, I was told, I was not involved in it, but some members, in fact, they put up a video, they put up to say that how much they want to be involved in it. And this is being very authentic because it's a very grown-up initiative without being pushed. So hoping to work together with various parties who wants to work, instead of seeing a marathon as a competition, but seeing it as a collaborative opportunity. So business model? No, I think we're looking into a social model. We may not be looking to monetization, we may not be looking to how to collaborate with various parties, but we need to look into how we can create everyone's providing their time, their talents, as well as their treasures to be supporting this whole initiative. So this is just something happened in the past that makes us want to be involved in this whole support, person with autism who get lost. So in the future, we're hoping that in Bukit Batok, we can create an app that allows learning for person with autism as well as the different funders to be involved in this whole initiative. Be the change. These are the parties, and these are the ones that we'll work together with. Because of course, with Dr. Arthur Chia, of course, we also have Dr. Helen Bounds involved in the research aspect of it. I know I'm speeding things very true, but I would love to be able to answer some questions so that I can explain more. Hopefully, we can all learn together for this autism-friendly initiative. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, Jonathan.
Thank you so much for the very, very quick sharing. I think you have opened up a lot more time for the Q&A. We'll just open the floor for questions. I think I'll just get the ball rolling by asking what are exactly the content you want more Bukit Batok residents and in extension more people to understand in your platform.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share more because I was speaking through really quickly earlier. So the content is not just for Bukit Batok residents, it's also for the funders, it's also for the allies to come into the picture. So for them to really look into better understanding of personal autism, upskilling their interaction skill sets to look into how to build up these individuals as well as impacting their residents, impacting the people who are involved. So we already have a funder who is very interested to come into the picture and look into how the CSR can be used to make it a sustainable interactions instead of just asking people to come and do painting of a wall, but these are really impacting their residents, maybe setting up a small little business in Bukit Batok that maybe is a baking business, but we have the funders to come into the picture, employ a person with autism who lives in Bukit Batok, upskilling interactions of such things happening at the CC itself. So all these are what we're hoping to achieve. I hope that I managed to address the question you asked, Jonathan.
Yeah, no worries. I think if you can show the slide where they can contact you, that'll be great. The next question is from Ms. Lily. Is more towards how do we can get involved? What are the channels for the rest of us to get involved, either in providing content, providing support, or in any other form that you wish for us to get involved?
Great. Thank you for demonstrating interest or wanting to be involved. So currently we do not have a portal or so, but we are in the process of creating it because the first level we're looking into knowledge creation. Next level is really to look into the impact and effective. So if I'm able to also to highlight earlier, I shared that in April next year, we're going to have an exhibition. And this exhibition is where we're going to launch a website that allows the different parties to come to be involved. So we're starting small first. Now we're focusing on impacting the effective level, recruiting the different volunteers within Bukit Batok. And from April next year, we're going to get people from outside Bukit Batok to be involved, whether are you an ally who want to contribute your skill sets or funders who want to come to the picture to be involved. Because the current funder that we have is really able to help us to roll, to kickstart the whole process for April. But after that, we hope that funders will come in, not just for money, but also their skill sets and abilities too.
I see. Yeah, I think I just follow up with like, in case anyone is interested to follow the updates and progress, where do they find you? Do you post on Facebook? Do you post on Twitter? Just to get like updates from Learning with Autism.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I probably will also have to be more upskilled in relation to updating the various organizations or individuals who are interested in it. It's a learning process for me also. I'm hoping to find the bandwidth to do so.
I see. Okay, I think it'll be quite good if you can leave any contact information or maybe use any of the solution pitched by our previous solutions to actually upskill yourself in this aspect. In fact, yeah,
definitely. Yeah. In the last masterclass, I think we really had some chance to exchange information with some of the other parties. And I think we can really work on collaborating this aspect. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity to share. Thank you to the audience and thank you for all the partners who work together with us.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I think your time is almost running out. Thank you so much for sharing and we wish you all the best for this great effort. Up next, we'll have Team Matchup. Could you just take over the screen share for now? Okay, and then.
Hi, can you see my screen?
The video is still not coming through. Try again.
I'm not allowed to on my video.
No worries. Okay, yeah. The screen share was great just now. You can restart it one more time.
Sure. Yeah, it says that the host don't allow me to on my video.
Oh, wait, let me get that fixed very quickly.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can get started. Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Ray from MedChat. So in MedChat, we hope to manage the gap between the best fit. One problem we realize is that many students and job seekers are often unsure and confused about their career path. But I hope everyone's happy with their jobs and enjoy what they're doing right now. But as for those who are feeling lost or thinking like, does this job really suits me? Don't worry, you are not the only one. Through our validation and research finding, actually most young working adults are still not sure about what exactly suits them or what they want to do. And I think the current solutions by job boards is very generic. It's based on what you have studied or your search history. So there are certain roles out there that you might have never heard of. Today, actually, this morning I spoke with someone. She said she has never heard of the role product management until like last year. So now she's trying very hard to gain more experience and take courses and learn about that. So ultimately, we realized that there's still this issue of personality and culture misfit at the workplace right now. And this tends to result in young working adults having to job hop a lot and translate into a problem for companies, as companies take a long time trying to screen themselves for the right talent. They also don't have easy access to students and talents. Not everyone's on LinkedIn. And ultimately, this issue of personality and culture mismatch results in them adopting this long existing recruitment process whereby they go through rounds and rounds of screening. And for us, MatchHub, we hope to help companies save time and money to make recruitment more efficient. And how we do that is through an AI-powered platform that matches talents to job roles and mentors based on not just the CV experiences, but also your career aspirations, personality, and work style. So we have a holistic profiling as well as focus screening, and want to provide the best fit. So we want to recommend talents, or we focus on students for a start, but moving forward, we'll also expand into young working adults. We want to recommend them suitable job roles and suitable mentors. And we feel that at different stage of life, you usually need different mentors. And currently, a lot of mentorship programs, it's like just a 6-month mentorship program and then it ends there. What we want to do is a more targeted or tailored mentorship program in line with their career aspiration for a job role that suits them. So for example, they realize that they want to try out maybe marketing role, then we should match them to a mentor maybe in the marketing field, which is more relevant to what they are looking for. So how we're gonna do this is using our AI platform. So how the AI model works is we looking at a hard skills and a soft skills model. So hard skills model is quite straightforward, using the CVs and different JDs to see which job role match them more. And for soft skills, we have our own in-house personality test, as well as other open-ended questions like describe the challenge you face, introduce yourself, so on and so forth. So this is how the dashboard is gonna look like. We have the percentage match for hard skills and soft skills for different job roles, as well as potentially for mentors as well, whether personality fit is also important, right? If you don't gel well with the mentor, you might be shy to ask questions. And we will show the top key personality traits of each candidate as well. So we're looking at a B2B freemium model, not going to charge like job seekers or talents, but more on the company side for screening purposes. So we have different packages for startups, SMEs, as well as larger MNCs. Looking at the market size of 1.8 billion, focusing on China and Singapore. Why China? Because we feel that there's a gap right now of international students there, or rather international companies looking to enter China don't really know how to go about hiring because the job portals there are very localized. Similarly, for companies, like China companies looking to expand overseas, your Our Bike Dance, Alibaba, these are big brands, but there are actually a lot of other smaller local China brands or companies that do like overseas businesses, and right now there is still that gap over there that we hope to fill. So once again, how we differentiate from other like job portals or screening platforms like biometrics is the fact that we take into account candidates' career aspirations, personality, and working styles, unlike LinkedIn focus a lot more on hard skills. And also we want to allow companies to directly reach out candidates, and also we want to recommend them relevant and suitable courses based on what the AI identified, right? Like for example, if you want to do marketing, but you study engineering, so what are some gaps right now? What do you need to learn in order to take up the marketing role, marketing job? That's where we'll provide and try to help them push and match to that job. So this is our team. We have various experiences from marketing, HR, BD, software engineering, and data science. We have been featured a bit in the news. We partner with student clubs and come to the HR space. This is what we have done. We started just working on the idea of end of last year. So right now we're at this phase. So we also started this social initiative, mHub, a gig economy for PWDs, persons with disabilities. So what we hope to do is to match PWDs to suitable digital freelance job. Currently, a lot of initiatives by SG and Able is targeted more at vocational jobs and at permanent full-time roles. But moving forward, even fresh graduates are having difficult time finding a full-time job. Many of us are on contract roles. So we hope to actually build a more inclusive digital economy and to help open up, the future of work, the gig economy to PWDs as well. We spoke to SG and Able, hoping to work out something so that more programs can also be, recrafted to help target gig economy as well, or people who are in contract with jobs. So ultimately we want to help match them to digital freelance jobs and provide them more career opportunities and also empower the whole community. Once again, I think the time is going to be up. One last slide is how we're going to apply, is to understand and have a more tailored recommendation of courses and learning catered to one's work style, personality, and to enhance the workplace performance. And then they want to match more mentors to mentees. These are future plans. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Reyes, for sharing quite comprehensively. Can you just keep the screen sharing up in case anyone wanted to inquire a specific slides?
Sure.
I think in your sharing, you mentioned about like targeting solely for the younger adult or young adults in that way. Is this then the solution only specialized for them and not maybe for people who are switching career?
Definitely not. The only reason we are starting out with younger adults is partially like a strategic reason. It's easier for us to reach out to students right now, as my team have some more student network and connections. But moving forward, we of course also hope to provide this solution and target mid-career switchers, where people are looking to switch jobs and considering or rather do the whole career discovery process from scratch. Yeah.
I see. Would I open the floor to questions from the audience? Please feel free to use the Q&A button. We do allow us ask as well. I think my next question will be, I am a bit kind of confused because you mentioned that our businesses are paying for it, but at the same time, the job seekers are getting their profile. So in that way, like how exactly the platform is more towards the use of job seeker in that way? Or is it more towards a company who is seeking the right profile and hunt for these people?
Great question. So it's for both. That's why it's a platform to connect both. It's just like how LinkedIn works, right? LinkedIn is, unless you are a LinkedIn premium subscriber, LinkedIn is free for anyone to create their profile to apply for jobs. And LinkedIn charge companies for the posting of jobs, like job ads. But for us, we don't charge by job ads. We charge by say subscription model. So maybe more of the LinkedIn recruiter model, where companies can get to have more access to screen talents, or rather get like the whole recommended list, so on and so forth. Yeah, so maybe for the free subscription, we'll only allow them to view like at most 20 profiles a month, and if they want to view more, then they have to pay, that kind of idea. Yeah, but we are not going to charge like job seekers, because the idea of this is to help provide value for them to seek like the jobs that they want to discover. Yeah,
understand. Okay, the next question from Ms. Susan is going to be quite challenging. How different is your offering from My Career Future, which is a government launch website?
I see that question. Yeah, it's a very, very good question. I need to think of how to answer this tactfully because okay, so for My Career Future, I'm not sure if you've used it before. You get to add your own skill sets, right? So it's up to you to kind of indicate what skill sets you want. And I think right now they don't take into account the whole personality and work style component. I mean, I can claim that I know Adobe, I know Figma, I know Python. I can just add anything I want. Yeah, but that's not what MatchHub is gonna do. It's more of like it's more of a screening tool based on your holistic profiling, your CV, your personality, your work style, which I think currently My Career Future don't look at personality and work style. I mean, maybe some I don't know if anyone from My Career Future is gonna add that in soon. But yeah, and I think for us, we want to focus a lot on we start by focusing on like the young young working adults, or even I would say those who want to do mid-career switches, but more of those who are not sure of what they want to do. So the whole like career discovery process, discovering your passion. Whereas I think for My Career Future, it's very targeted at people who already know what jobs they want to do, so they can search directly for that particular role, and it'll recommend to them, based on your skill sets, based on your experiences, what fits you now. But that's not what we are trying to do. We're trying to do that, hey, it doesn't matter that you don't have the skill sets, that you have no experience in this area, you can still try it out, right? And how are you going to try it out? Get a mentor, learn this, learn that, and then you can also enter a brand new field. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, we have one slot for one last question. So from Mr. Idris from the audience, do you have plans to work with training organization to match job for their trainees?
Yes, definitely. We have and we want to. So we started that for our social initiative idea. We actually partnered, we were looking to partner training organizations. We spoke to a few like partner organizations like SPD, Make the Change. So they do training. So what we do is we match like the PWD participants to do the training first before they take on the jobs. But for like the match hub now, because we focus on students for a start, it's easier to get going, and students are already studying, so we haven't done that partnership, but moving forward we definitely would plan to do that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Race.
Thank you.
Actually up. Yeah. So feel free to contact MatchUp if you're interested to find out more. And question, or if your question is not fully answered yet, they'll be more than happy to take it up. And thank you, everyone. We have come to the end of innovJam Showcase Day. I hope this session has been very helpful for you in navigating what are the next solutions you want to try, take up, and just have a further chat and exploration with the 11 teams that have presented their ideas today. When you end the session today, you will be redirected to a feedback form in which you can highlight which team you want to speak further, or you can also drop us an email if you wish to have a facilitated session, means that you want IAL to act as a bridge between you or your organization to speak to any of the teams that has presented today. We'll definitely be more than happy to connect you up and proliferate the innovation further. On behalf of the InLab team, we wish you to continue to stay safe and well and survive the pandemic pressure. And we hope to see you again real soon in the other IL initiative. We wish you a good afternoon, have a good lunch ahead, and thank you so much. Take care and goodbye. We're gonna keep this session open for the next 50 minutes in case any of the attendees have further questions they want to ask for any of the other panelists. It is completely optional. If the panelists need to leave now, we will forward the question to you via email. So not to worry, we won't eat your time, but we'll keep this session open in case anyone have any further questions or clarification for any of the panelists. Just post it on the question answer or this chat function. If not, we hope that you have a pleasant afternoon ahead. Take care. Goodbye.